My son-in-law went on a business trip and asked me to look after his 10-year-old son. I made him breakfast, but he didn't even touch it, just sat there staring at it. I asked, "Why aren't you eating?" He replied, "Am I allowed to eat today?" And immediately burst into tears. These words changed everything. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments what time it is where you are now. The phone rang at 8 in the morning. My coffee mug stopped halfway to my lips. Nobody called me at 8 a.m. on a Tuesday. Nobody called me much at all anymore, if I'm being honest. "Wyatt, it's Clyde. Look, I need a favor. Big one." I set the mug down. "Sure, what's—" "Emergency trip to Seattle, client crisis. Can you take Zach? Just a week, maybe less." My chest went warm. I barely saw my grandson these days. "Of course. You know I love having him. When— I'm already on my way. Be there in 30. Click. I stared at the phone. Clyde had hung up before I could ask about school, clothes, allergies, any of the 1,000 things a grandfather should know. The coffee had gone lukewarm in my hand. 30 minutes later, tires squealed in my driveway. I made it to the front porch just as Clyde's Mercedes door flew open. Zach climbed out, clutching a backpack that looked bigger than he was. "Hey, Clyde, come in for coffee. We can—" "Can't. Flight's at noon. Zach, be good for Grandpa." He was already backing toward the car. "Wait, does he need any special—" "He's fine. Gotta go." The car door slammed. He drove off like his car was on fire. Didn't even wait to see if I was wearing pants. For the record, I was. Zach stood on my porch, small and silent. I bent down, gave him a hug. His shoulders felt like bird bones under my hands. "Well, buddy, looks like you're stuck with me for a while." I grabbed his backpack. "You hungry?" "I was thinking pancakes." He nodded. Didn't speak. That was okay. Some kids took time to warm up. In the kitchen, I pulled out my mixing bowl, the good one with the chip in the rim that Isadora used to tease me about. My daughter, Zach's mom. Gone 3 years now, and some mornings I still set out an extra coffee mug by mistake. "Your mom loved these pancakes." I cracked eggs into the bowl. "Used to eat 6 at a time. Can you believe that?" Zach sat at the table. Said nothing. "I added extra chocolate chips. Your favorite, right?" He barely nodded. The batter sizzled when it hit the pan. I still had it. The first pancake landed perfectly when I flipped it. Too bad my audience of one looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. Maybe he was tired. Maybe he missed his dad already. Maybe I was just a boring old man who talked too much about dead people and breakfast foods. I piled pancakes onto a plate, added butter, drowned them in syrup the way kids like it. Set it in front of Zach with a fork and a glass of orange juice. He stared at the plate. Didn't move. "Buddy, why aren't you eating? They getting cold on you?" Silence. "Zach?" He looked up at me. His eyes were Isadora's eyes, that same dark brown that used to see right through my excuses when she was a teenager. But these eyes had something else in them, something that made my spatula feel heavy in my hand. "Grandpa," his voice came out barely above a whisper, am I allowed to eat today?" My reading glasses slipped down my nose. The spatula clattered onto the stovetop. "What? Of course you can." Zach burst into tears. Not the normal tears of a kid who scraped his knee or lost at checkers. These were the tears of someone who'd been holding something inside for too long. His thin frame shook. His hands gripped the edge of the table so hard his knuckles went white. I stood frozen in my kitchen, batter still dripping from the spatula onto the floor. The stack of chocolate chip pancakes sat between us, steam rising into the morning light. 32 years. I'd spent 32 years as a CPS social worker. 32 years of walking into kitchens just like this one, asking questions just like that one, watching children cry just like this. All those case files, all those interviews, all those other people's children. But this time, the child crying at my breakfast table had my daughter's eyes. I wiped the batter off my hand with a dish towel, took a breath, sat down across from Zach. "Hey," I kept my voice soft. "Of course you can eat. You can eat anything you want here, okay?" He looked at the pancakes like they might disappear, like someone might snatch them away. "Go ahead, buddy. I made them for you." His hand trembled, reaching for the fork. Then he ate. Not the way a normal kid eats pancakes on a Tuesday morning. He devoured them. Syrup ran down his chin. He barely chewed. The kid demolished those pancakes like he was training for competitive eating. If this wasn't so horrible, I'd be impressed. I poured more juice. My hand shook slightly. I gripped the pitcher tighter. These are good, buddy. You want more? He nodded, mouth full, already reaching for another from the stack. When's the last time you had pancakes? Long time. I flipped another batch on the pan, kept my tone light. Yeah? What do you usually have for breakfast? A pause. Sometimes cereal. If what? Zach looked down at his plate. If I did my homework right, and my room's clean, and I didn't talk back. My knuckles went white on the spatula handle. And if those things aren't perfect? A whisper. Then I wait till lunch at school. I slid 3 more pancakes onto his plate, watched him attack them, started counting in my head. 6 pancakes. 7. When's the last time this kid ate a full meal? Does Dad check your homework every night? Every night. If I get something wrong, he says I didn't try hard enough. And then, no dinner, to teach me to focus better. I took a sip of coffee. It had gone ice cold. How often does that happen? Zach counted on his sticky fingers. Maybe 3 times a week? The mug nearly shattered in my grip. I set it down carefully. Professionally. The way I'd done 1,000 times before in 1,000 other kitchens. When Zach lifted his arm to wipe his mouth, his shirt sleeve rode up. Bruises. Finger-shaped. Someone had grabbed him hard enough to leave marks that had already faded to yellow-green. Old bruises. Plural. My jaw tightened. I kept my voice gentle. Why don't you go take a shower, buddy? Your backpack's by the door. Take your time. Use all the hot water you want. He nodded, sliding off the chair, paused at the doorway. Grandpa? Yeah? Thank you for the pancakes. Anytime, Zach. Anytime you want. I waited until I heard the bathroom door close. The shower started running. Then I moved. My camera collection lived on the shelf in the living room. Nikon F3s, a couple of Leicas, a Hasselblad that cost more than my first car. But I reached past all of them for the Polaroid Sun 600 from 1983. Still worked, unlike my knees. Back in the kitchen, I photographed everything. The backpack, barely unpacked. The empty plate with syrup smears. I pulled out my phone, opened notes, started typing with my thumbs like Isaac taught me. Tuesday, May 6th, 8:51 a.m. Subject is male, age 10, approximately 60 pounds. I paused, read that back. My grandson is 60 pounds. I photographed the timestamps on my phone, made notes about the bruises, their color, their placement, wrote down everything Zach said, word for word. My hands stayed steady. 32 years of practice. The shower was still running. I sat at my kitchen table and pulled out my phone again. Japan was 16 hours ahead. That made it 3 in the morning in Yokosuka. My son Isaac would be thrilled. The phone rang 6 times. Dad? What's wrong? When did you last see Zachary? What? It's 3 in the morning. Answer me. When did you last see your nephew? A pause. Christmas? No, before. September, maybe. Why? What happened? He's here. Clyde dumped him off for a week. Okay, that's good. You love spending time with Isaac. Your nephew just asked me if he's allowed to eat today. The silence stretched across the Pacific Ocean. He what? You heard me. That doesn't... Dad, are you sure he didn't mean... I spent 32 years interviewing abused children. I know what I heard. Isaac's voice changed. Alert now. Awake. What are you saying? I'm saying Clyde is starving that boy as punishment. I'm saying your nephew is covered in bruises. I'm saying I need you to wire me money for a lawyer. How much? 5,000 to start. Done. Dad, are you? I'm sure. What are you going to do? Whatever I have to. I've got about a week before Clyde comes back. Call me every day, morning and night. I don't care what time it is here. I will. Dad? Yeah? Destroy him. I hung up. The shower had stopped running. I heard Zach moving around in the bathroom. I took my phone, my Polaroid, my notes, and walked to my office. In the bottom drawer of my desk, under old tax returns and expired warranties, I found what I was looking for. A worn composition notebook, its cover soft from years of use. I hadn't opened it since my retirement party 3 years ago. Inside, page after page of my own handwriting, interview techniques, documentation protocols, signs of abuse to watch for, a whole career condensed into one notebook. At the bottom of the drawer lay something else, my old CPS badge in its leather holder. I picked it up, felt its weight in my palm. The badge meant nothing now, officially. The agency had taken back my access, my authority, my jurisdiction, but the skills, those never retired. My phone buzzed. A text from Isaac. Wired $5,000, whatever you need, save him. I typed back with my thumbs. I will. I should have seen this sooner. You see it now. That's what matters. I'm going to destroy him. Good. I flipped the notebook open to a blank page and wrote in the same neat handwriting I'd used for 3 decades. Case file. Zachary Garrett. Victim. Age 10. Then I paused, drew a line through case file, and wrote above it. My grandson. This time, it was personal. Wednesday morning arrived with rain tapping against the kitchen window. I stood at the stove making scrambled eggs, that old composition notebook open on the counter next to me. Page 1 had my notes from yesterday. Page 2 waited blank. Zach shuffled in wearing borrowed pajamas that hung off his frame. I'd noticed during his shower Tuesday night. Every rib visible, hip bones jutting out like handles. Morning, buddy. Hungry? He nodded. Always nodded. Never said no to food. I slid eggs onto his plate, added toast, poured juice. While he ate, I pulled the Polaroid from the living room shelf. The Sun 600. Still had film from 1987 in it. Hey, Zach, mind if I take some pictures? Memory photos? You know, of our week together. He shrugged, mouth full of eggs. I snapped one of him at the table. The Polaroid whirred and spat out the square. I shook it gently while it developed, set it aside to dry, made notes on the white border. Wednesday, May 7th, 8:15 a.m. Breakfast. Can I see? In a minute. Let it finish developing. I took another. This time I caught the bruises on his upper arm when he reached for more toast. Lift your arm again, just like that. The camera clicked. Evidence. After breakfast, we moved to the living room. Zach wanted to draw. I set him up with paper and colored pencils, positioned myself on the couch with a book. My old copy of War and Peace. Hadn't opened it in 20 years. Probably never would. Inside the hollowed-out center, my voice recorder fit perfectly. I hit record, closed the cover, set it on the coffee table between us. What are you drawing? My house. I looked at the paper. Dark lines, small windows, everything colored in heavy black and gray. That's your house with your dad? Yeah. What's it like there? He shrugged again. Kids always shrug when they don't want to answer. I bet you have your own room. That's cool. I guess. We sat quiet for a while. Rain kept falling. The recorder kept running. Grandpa? Yeah, buddy. Do you think I'm bad? My stomach dropped. What? No. Why would you think that? Dad says if I was better, I wouldn't need so much discipline. I set my book down. Careful now. What kind of discipline? You know, timeouts, going to bed early, stuff like that. What about the meals? You told me about missing meals. His pencil stopped moving. I shouldn't have said that. It's okay. I'm your grandpa. You can tell me anything. But what if you tell Dad? I won't tell your dad. True enough. I'd tell CPS instead. Wednesday afternoon, I made my mistake. We'd been at it for 3 hours. My back hurt from sitting. My patience had worn thin. The notebook was filled with careful observations, but I wanted more. Needed more. Specific details. Dates. Frequencies. Zach, can we talk about something? He looked up from his drawing. This one had more colors. Yellow sun in the corner. These bruises on your arms, how did you get them? His face changed, shut down like someone hit a switch. It's okay, you can tell me. I want to help. Silence. Does your dad grab you when he's angry? Does he? I don't want to talk about it. He stood up fast. Colored pencils rolled off the table. Zach, wait, I'm not. You're just like the school counselor, asking questions, making it worse. He ran to his temporary bedroom. The door slammed. I sat there staring at the closed door. Brilliant work, Coleman. 32 years of training, and you just interrogated a traumatized kid, like some rookie fresh out of the academy. The voice recorder in the book was still running. It had captured everything, including me screwing up. I spent Thursday rebuilding what I'd demolished. Made chocolate chip cookies at 11 p.m. Wednesday night. Didn't sleep much anyway. Burned the first batch because rage makes terrible baking company. The second batch came out perfect. Thursday morning, I slid the cookie dough bowl toward Zach at breakfast. Want to lick the spoon? He hesitated. Your mom used to steal the whole bowl. I'd turn around and she'd be eating raw dough with her hands. Small smile. Progress. Really? Really drove me crazy, but man, she loved cookies. I miss her. Me too, buddy. Every single day. We baked together. I didn't ask questions, just stood next to him while he dropped dough onto the baking sheet. Let him eat 3 cookies straight from the oven. Didn't mention bruises or meals or Clyde. Friday, I called Yolanda Pierce. She'd been my supervisor back when I still carried a badge. Yolanda, it's Wyatt Coleman. Wyatt, haven't heard from you since your retirement party. I need advice. Unofficial. Pause. How unofficial? The victim is my grandson. Oh no. Wyatt, I'm so sorry. Tell me. I explained everything. The pancakes, the question, the bruises, the documentation I'd been building. You're documenting everything? Like it's 1995 and I'm still carrying a badge. Good. But Wyatt, listen carefully. Family cases are different. The system bends over backwards to keep kids with blood relatives. Even bad ones. I know. You'll need ironclad evidence, and even then, I have evidence. Enough to overcome the fact that you're the other parent's father-in-law? That you might be seen as biased? I didn't answer. That's what I thought. Be careful. And Wyatt, don't interrogate the boy. You know better. I do now. By Saturday, Zach had started talking again. We sat in the backyard while he drew. This picture had a dog in it. We didn't have a dog. Grandpa? Yeah? Dad says I'm too sensitive. That Mom made me weak. My jaw clenched. Voice stayed gentle. What do you think? I think I just miss having dinner. Tell me about that. He talked while drawing. If I cry, that's being weak. Weak means no dinner. If I leave my shoes in the wrong place, that's being sloppy. Sloppy means no breakfast. How often does that happen? A lot. He has rules for everything. Sunday evening, I spread everything across my desk. 14 Polaroids of bruises, arranged in chronological order. I'd also captured 3 perfect shots of my own thumb. Professional photographer, I was not. The voice recorder sat next to them, its tiny red light blinking. My food journal lay open to the last page. Day 5. Asked for 4th helping of dinner. Ate until he looked sick. Still scared there won't be more. The documentation stack was 3 inches thick. In the drawer, the CPS intake form waited, half filled out. Clyde would be back in 2 days. 48 hours to decide. File now or wait. My phone buzzed. Text from Isaac. Any update? I picked up a pen, pulled the intake form closer, and wrote Clyde's full name in the alleged perpetrator box. My hand didn't shake. Not anymore. Tuesday morning, Clyde's Mercedes pulled into my driveway at 9 sharp. I watched from the window, took a breath, opened the door. Morning, Clyde. Come on in. Can't. Running late. Zach, let's go. Zach appeared with his backpack, moving like someone walking to sentencing. I knelt down, pulled him into a hug. He clung to me for an extra moment. Hey, buddy. You take care, okay? He whispered into my shoulder. Can I come back soon? Any time. You know that. Zach, car. Now. Clyde stood by the driver's door, keys already in hand. Clyde, wait a second. I wanted to mention... What? Zach seemed really thin this week. Maybe worth a doctor's visit. Just to... He's fine. He's built like Isadora was. Delicate. My hand gripped the doorframe. Isadora wasn't... We gotta go. Thanks for watching him. He turned toward the car. Clyde! He stopped. Didn't turn around. Take care of him. He's all we have left of her. I know what he is. The car disappeared down Hawthorne Boulevard. I stood on the porch for a full minute, not moving. Then I went inside and called Winnie. Winifred Sutherland had lived across the street for 40 years. She was 72, kept binoculars on her windowsill, and missed nothing. Wyatt, this is a surprise. Come in, come in. Thanks, Winnie. Sorry to drop by unannounced. Don't be silly. I'll make tea. Or would you prefer something stronger? You look like you could use it. She served tea in china cups with roses on them. The cups were older than my car. I was terrified I'd break one, and somehow that felt worse than everything else happening. Winnie, I need to ask you something about my son-in-law. Her expression changed. I wondered when you'd ask. You've noticed things? Hard not to. My living room window faces their porch. She pointed through lace curtains. That's a blessing. And a curse. What have you seen? Well, that boy sits outside a lot. Alone. even when it's cold. How often? A few times a week, maybe. And I hear yelling. The walls are thin in these old houses. Can you make out words? Not usually, but it's angry yelling, you know? The kind that makes me turn up my TV. She hesitated, took a sip of tea. Anything else? About 3 weeks ago, maybe a month. It was late. Maybe 10 at night. I was closing my curtains and I saw that little boy on the porch, just sitting there on the steps, in his pajamas, crying. Was Clyde there? Door was closed. Locked, I think. The boy tried the handle a few times. She set down her cup. I almost went over. But then the door opened and the boy went inside quick. Why didn't you call anyone? And say what? I saw a boy crying on his own porch. CPS would laugh at me. They won't laugh at me. Wednesday morning, I drove to the CPS office downtown. The waiting room had a poster. Every child deserves a safe home. Below it, someone had carved, "Call my ex-wife," into the wooden armrest. Government buildings really do attract optimists. Wyatt, you came. Yolanda stood in her office doorway. I told you I would. I hoped you'd cool off. Think about it more. I did think about it. For 5 days straight. I placed the folder on her desk. This is everything. She opened it, flipped through Polaroids slowly. Her professional mask slipped. Anger showed through. These bruises? Finger-shaped. Upper arms. Classic restraint pattern. You trained me to recognize those. I know. She listened to the voice recordings. Her face darkened with each one. Systemic food deprivation as punishment. Multiple times per week. For months. Possibly years. That's my assessment. And the boy disclosed this to you? Voluntarily, after I established trust. Wyatt, you know what filing this means? War. He'll know it was you. You're the only one the boy talked to. I don't care. The family court will be involved. This could take months. He'll lawyer up. He'll fight. So will I. She picked up the official form. I have to ask, is there any chance you're biased because he's your son-in-law? Any personal conflict? He's starving my grandson. That's not bias. That's fact. Long pause. She clicked her pen twice. All right, I'm opening a case. We'll conduct a home visit within 48 hours. Unannounced. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. This is just the beginning. I drove home through afternoon traffic. Back in my house, I walked to where my camera collection lived behind glass doors. Nikons, Leicas, a Hasselblad that cost more than my first car. I reached past all of them for the FM2 from the 90s. The film canister fought me like it personally remembered the 90s and wanted no part of coming back. I didn't blame it. But my hands remembered. Load the film, advance twice, check the counter. Muscle memory from cases that still woke me up some nights. I set the Nikon on my desk, next to the Polaroid Sun 600. 2 cameras, 4 decades apart. The Polaroid had captured the truth this week. Immediate, undeniable, physical evidence. But the Nikon? The Nikon had documented my worst cases. Meth houses, broken bones, children who'd learned to stop crying because nobody came. I clicked the shutter button. The mechanical snap echoed in the quiet room. Sharp, final, unforgiving. Through the viewfinder, I could see my reflection in the dark window glass. An old man with reading glasses on a chain and white hair that needed cutting. But my hands? My hands remembered every button, every setting, every angle that made judges stop and listen. Old friend, I said to the camera, my voice steady in the empty room. One more round. Thursday morning, I made coffee and waited. My phone sat on the kitchen table. The Nikon FM2 sat next to it, both loaded and ready. Yolanda had said they'd move within 48 hours. It had been 36. The call came at 11:30. Clyde's name lit up the screen. I took a sip of coffee, let it ring 3 times, answered, "Hello, Clyde." "You son of a—" The scream came through so loud I pulled the phone away from my ear. "This was you. You called CPS on me." I set the phone on speaker, kept my voice level. I expressed concern about my grandson's welfare. That's what grandfathers do. You had no right. He's my son. And he's my grandson, my dead daughter's son. You have no idea what it's like raising a kid alone. You have no idea what I have eyes. I have documentation. I have medical evidence. Silence. I could hear him breathing hard on the other end. You're never seeing him again. You hear me? Never. Try it. See how that plays in family court when the judge asks why you're preventing supervised visits. Supervised? What are you? You'll be hearing from CPS about the investigation timeline. In Clyde? What? Get a lawyer. You're going to need one. I hung up, took another sip of coffee. My hand didn't shake. Not anymore. He threatened to keep me from seeing Zach. Like I hadn't spent 3 decades navigating family court systems. That was adorable. My phone buzzed. Text from Yolanda. Visit complete. Medical exam scheduled for 2 p.m. He knows it was you. I typed back. Good. 2 hours earlier, Yolanda had knocked on Clyde's door with Officer Martinez standing behind her. I wasn't there, but she called me after to fill in the details. Clyde had been holding car keys, about to take Zach to school. His face went from confusion to understanding to rage in about 10 seconds. He'd tried to close the door. Martinez's boots stopped it. They'd conducted the home inspection while Clyde protested. Found Zach's room. Sparse, cold, more like a cell than a bedroom. Kitchen cabinets locked with actual padlocks. Freezer had a combination lock on it. Yolanda had photographed everything. They'd interviewed Zach separately. The boy had answered every question in a whisper, looking at the floor. When asked when he'd last eaten breakfast, he'd said, "This morning," but couldn't meet anyone's eyes. When asked if he always got breakfast, he'd paused for a long time. Then, "If I deserve it." The medical exam came back that afternoon. 60 pounds at age 10. Multiple bruises in various stages of healing. Signs of chronic malnutrition, stunted growth, vitamin deficiencies, thinning hair. The doctor's report used words like systematic and long-term, and concerning indicators. At 2 o'clock, I drove downtown to meet Yvonne Palmer. Her office occupied the 14th floor of a glass building that reflected the Willamette River. She spread my documentation across the conference table, made a low whistle. "Mr. Coleman, this is remarkably thorough." I wanted to be prepared. Prepared? Most clients bring me a napkin with bullet points. You brought me a prosecutable case. Is it enough? Enough? She tapped the Polaroids. The photographs alone show clear signs of physical restraint abuse. The voice recordings establish pattern of behavior. The food diary proves systematic neglect. So you'll take the case. I'll take it. But I have to ask. Former social worker? I almost smiled. Former is a strong word. The badge retired. I didn't. She said her retainer was $3,000. I'd already wired $5 to Isaac's account last week. Turns out revenge is cheaper than I thought. Who knew? Good. Because Clyde Garrett is going to fight dirty. They always do when they're losing. I spent 32 years watching people fight dirty. He's not special. By 6 o'clock, Clyde had called 4 lawyers. I knew because Winnie knew. She'd heard through Betty, who'd heard through someone at the courthouse. The quotes ranged from $5,000 to $10,000 for retainers. Family law wasn't cheap. He'd settled on Thomas Brennan. Expensive, aggressive, known for defending difficult cases. That evening, I stopped by Winnie's house with a bottle of wine. She answered, wearing a floral apron, flour on her hands. "Wyatt, come in. I'm making bread." We sat at her kitchen table while dough rose in a bowl nearby. Through her living room window, I could see straight across to Clyde's house. Perfect vantage point. "Winnie, I need to ask a favor." "Anything, dear." "I need you to accidentally mention the CPS visit. To people. At the coffee shop." She leaned back, eyes bright. "Accidentally?" "Very accidentally." "Well," she brushed flour off her hands, "I do tend to talk when I'm worried, and I'm so worried about that poor boy across the street. Simply have to discuss it with everyone who'll listen." Winnie told everyone at the coffee shop by 2 p.m. Friday. By 4 p.m., the whole neighborhood knew. The woman could have worked for the FBI or TMZ. Same thing, really. My phone started buzzing with texts from numbers I didn't recognize. "Mr. Coleman, this is Diane Chen from 2 streets over. Winnie gave me your number, if you need anything." "Wyatt, it's Marcus from the hardware store. Heard about your grandson. Here if you need help." "Mr. Coleman, this is Sarah Bennett. I teach at Zach's school. We've been concerned, too." The community was circling wagons, just not around Clyde. Thursday night, I sat in my dark living room, phone glowing on the coffee table. The text from Yolanda arrived at 9:47 p.m. Case opened. Investigation active. Medical exam confirms malnutrition. Bruising consistent with restraint. Mandatory follow-up scheduled. He hired Thomas Brennan. Expensive and aggressive. Brace yourself. I picked up my phone, scrolled to the photo album titled simply Evidence. 43 photographs, 7 audio recordings, 12 pages of detailed notes, 3 decades of experience. I typed back, "Let him come." Then my phone buzzed again. Different number. Winnie. "The whole neighborhood knows. Betty's daughter is a teacher at Zach's school. She's watching too." I smiled in the darkness. I'd worked 300 cases in my career. I'd learned one thing. It wasn't the courts that destroyed abusers first. It was their neighbors. Saturday morning, Diane Chen texted me a photo. Clyde and Zach at Laurelhurst Park. Ice cream cones. Swings. The whole performance. "Thought you should see this. He's trying to look good." I zoomed in on Zach's face. The boy was eating chocolate chip ice cream, his supposed favorite, like someone had a gun to his back. Mechanical. No joy. Clyde crouched next to him, forcing a smile that didn't reach his eyes, speaking too loud, too cheerful, playing to an invisible audience. "Having fun, buddy?" I texted Diane back. "Thank you for watching out." "We're all watching now." CPS scheduled unannounced home visits twice weekly. Clyde's house would be under constant scrutiny. Every locked cabinet, every empty refrigerator, every time Zach flinched. Tuesday afternoon, I got the call I'd been waiting for. Supervised visitation approved. First visit that day at 3. The CPS office had a small playroom for supervised visits. Beige walls, donated toys, table with coloring books. Linda Chen would supervise, professional, thorough, took notes on everything. She briefed me in the hallway before we entered. "Mr. Coleman, you'll have 1 hour. I'll be present the entire time. Please keep interactions appropriate." I understand. The child may be reserved at first. That's normal in these situations. I've supervised a few of these myself. Former CPS. She looked up from her clipboard. "You worked for the agency?" 32 years. Then you know the rules better than I do. Linda, the CPS worker, made notes on her clipboard for the full hour. Either she was documenting thoroughly or writing a novel. Based on her expression, probably both. She opened the door to the playroom. Zach sat at a table with Clyde, coloring mechanically. The picture was all dark colors, heavy lines. "Zach, your grandfather is here for visitation." His head snapped up. The pencil dropped. "Grandpa!" He ran across the room, crashed into me, locked his arms around my waist, his face buried in my shirt, shoulders shaking. "Hey, buddy, I missed you too." From the corner, Clyde's voice came out tight. "Zach, don't be dramatic." Linda made a note on her clipboard. Zach wouldn't let go. I knelt down, looked at his face. He'd lost more weight. His eyes had circles under them. "You okay?" He nodded, didn't speak, but his grip on my arm stayed tight. We spent the hour playing with blocks, drawing pictures, talking about nothing important. Zach stayed glued to my side. Every few minutes, he'd glance at Clyde in the corner, then back to me. "Grandpa, when can I come stay with you again?" "Soon, buddy. We're working on it." "Can I stay forever?" My throat tightened. "Would you like that?" He nodded so hard his whole body moved. Clyde stood up fast. His chair scraped the floor. "That's enough. He's confusing the boy." Linda didn't look up from her notes. "Mr. Garrett, please sit down. You're not permitted to interrupt visitation." Clyde sat. His jaw worked like he was chewing glass, knuckles white on the chair arms, maintaining neutral expression for Linda, but his eyes were cold fury. The contrast was visible to everyone in that room. Zach laughing with me, then going stiff and silent when Clyde spoke. A child comfortable with his grandfather, terrified of his father. Linda saw it. She wrote it all down. After the visit, I sat in my car in the parking lot. Hands on the steering wheel. Engine off. Didn't move for 5 minutes. Triumph felt heavier than I'd expected. That evening, Isaac called from Japan. "Dad, how'd it go?" He ran to me. Wouldn't let go. "That's good, right? Shows the courts." "Isaac, I saw pictures today. Old ones. Clyde with baby Zach." Pause. "And?" "He was a good father once, before Isadora died." "Dad, don't do this." "Do what?" "Feel sorry for him. He starved your grandson." "I know. You taught me something when I was a kid. Remember? Good intentions don't erase bad actions." Long silence. Rain started tapping against my window. "You're right. I know I'm right. Finish this." Wednesday morning, I pulled old photo albums from the hall closet. Dust fell from the covers when I opened them. There it was. Zach's first birthday. Clyde holding him, both laughing. Isadora in the background, glowing. One hand on her pregnant belly with their second child. The child who never made it past 20 weeks. I traced the photo with my finger. Clyde looked so young, so happy, so different from the hollow man at that park with ice cream. You were happy once. Both of you were. I turned the page. More photos. Clyde teaching baby Zach to walk. Family Christmas. Beach vacation. What happened to you? What broke? I knew what broke. Isadora's car accident. The sudden funeral. Single father with a traumatized 5-year-old. Grief that turned inward, turned bitter, turned controlling. Doesn't matter. Doesn't excuse it. I closed the album. Shoved it back on the shelf. Walked to my laptop instead. Clicked on the video file from that first Tuesday morning. Zach's voice, small and scared. Can I eat today? That's what matters. Wednesday afternoon, the envelope arrived via certified mail. I signed for it, recognizing the return address, Multnomah County Family Court. Inside, the hearing notice. In the matter of Zachary M. Garrett, minor child, custody hearing, August 18, 2025. Honorary Judge Iris Caldwell presiding. 2 months away. I photographed it, texted Isaac. It's official. August 18th. His response came in seconds. Finish line in sight. Then another text. Unknown number. Mr. Coleman, this is Clyde's lawyer, Thomas Brennan. We should talk before this goes to court. My client is willing to negotiate shared custody. Call me. I stared at the message for a full minute. They were blinking first. I deleted it. Texted Yvonne Palmer instead. They're blinking first. Her response made me smile. Good. Let them panic. I walked to my camera collection. The Nikon FM2 sat ready. Film loaded. August was 2 months away. I wasn't done documenting. 3 weeks passed. The case built itself piece by piece. More supervised visits. More CPS reports. More neighbors whispering. I felt victory coming. Could taste it. Friday evening, late June, I sat at my dining table reviewing documentation. Yellow highlighter in hand, marking key passages. My coffee had gone cold an hour ago. The doorbell rang at 7:30. I wasn't expecting anyone. Peered through the window before opening. A woman stood on my porch. Business suit, tailored and expensive. Briefcase in hand. Dark hair pulled back. She looked like she'd stepped out of a courtroom. I opened the door. Yes? Wyatt Coleman? I'm Cecilia Garrett, Clyde's sister. My hand tightened on the doorframe. I have nothing to say to you. That's unfortunate, because I have quite a bit to say to you. She stepped inside before I could respond, brushed past me like I'd invited her in. Excuse me, you can't just... I'm a family law attorney, Mr. Coleman. I know exactly what I can and can't do. Sit down. She walked into my house like she owned it. Lawyers, they can't help themselves. It's like a disease where doorbell etiquette dies first. She set her briefcase on the coffee table with a decisive click, opened it, slid a folder across to me. Recognize this? I opened it. The air left my lungs. Case number 2022 FA 8847. My old disciplinary file. The complaint that almost ended my career 3 years ago. Where did you get public records? 3 years ago. Disciplinary complaint filed against you while you were still with CPS. My hands started trembling. Set the folder down carefully. That was dismissed. I was cleared. Dismissed isn't the same as innocent, is it? She remained standing, looking down at me. Power move. The complaint alleged you exceeded your authority, manipulated evidence, pursued a case beyond the agency's recommendation. I was protecting a child. Or were you pursuing a personal vendetta? The family alleged bias. Sound familiar? I stood up fast. My chair scraped the floor. Get out of my house. I'm not finished. Sit down. I didn't sit. My coffee mug sat on the table, forgotten and cold. My brother is many things, Mr. Coleman, but he's still Zachary's father. And you? You're a grandfather with an axe to grind and a history of questionable judgment. I have documentation, medical evidence, witness testimony. And I have this. She tapped the folder. I have proof that you manipulate systems, that you can't separate personal feelings from professional objectivity. What are you saying? I'm saying I'm filing for custody myself, as a neutral third party. My breath caught. The room tilted slightly. You can't. I can. and I will prove that neither you nor my brother are fit guardians. Clyde is abusive. You are vengeful. Zachary deserves better than both of you. He doesn't even know you. Better a stranger who wants to help than a grandfather using him as a weapon. The words hit like a physical blow. I sat down hard. The court date is August 18th. I'll see you there. But Mr. Coleman, she closed her briefcase, by the time I'm done, you'll wish you'd left well enough alone. She walked to the door, paused with her hand on the knob. One more thing. Your daughter, Isadora. She wouldn't want this. My hand gripped the back of the chair. Knuckles white. Don't you dare. She loved my brother once. They built a family, and you're tearing apart what's left of it. He's starving her son, and you're using her son as ammunition. Which one of you is worse? She left. The door clicked shut. I stood motionless for 10 minutes. Papers scattered across the table. One hand over my mouth, finally moved to pour whiskey. The glass shook, spilled on the counter. Seeing my own file was surreal, like reading your obituary while you're still alive. Except this one might actually kill me. I paced for an hour before calling Isaac. Japan was 16 hours ahead. 3:30 in the afternoon there. Phone rang 6 times. Dad? It's 3 in the morning here. What? She's going to take him. Isaac, she's going to take him. What? Who? Slow down. Clyde's sister. She's a lawyer. She knows about the old complaint. She's filing for custody herself. Isaac suddenly sounded alert. Wait. What complaint? 3 years ago. A case went bad. The family filed a complaint. It was dismissed, but it's on record. She's going to argue I'm biased, that I'm using Zach to get revenge on Clyde. Are you? Silence, long and heavy. Dad, are you using him to get revenge? I'm protecting him. That's not what I asked. My voice broke. I don't know anymore. At 2:47 a.m., I sat in what used to be Isadora's bedroom. Beige walls now. Generic guest room. I held her high school graduation photo. Cap askew. Huge smile. Baby girl, I don't know what you'd want me to do. My phone buzzed. Isaac. Flight booked. Land PDX 8 p.m. Saturday. Dad, we need to talk about this. Another buzz. Yvonne. Researching Cecilia Garrett. She's won 14 custody cases in 5 years. Never lost one. Through the window, I could see Clyde's dark house across the street. Somewhere in there, Zach was sleeping. The disciplinary file sat on the dining table. Red dismissed stamp, visible even from here. Dismissed wasn't innocent. She was right about that. My phone lit up one more time. Unknown number. Think carefully, Mr. Coleman. You're playing with a child's life. CG. I stared at it until the screen went dark. Saturday morning, 9 o'clock sharp, I sat in Yvonne's conference room. Isaac had flown in overnight, looked exhausted but alert. Coffee in hand, taking notes. Yvonne spread documents across the table like battle plans. All right, let's be clear about what we're facing. Cecilia Garrett is going to argue that both of you are unfit. We need to prove you're not just better than Clyde. We need to prove you're the only good option. How do we do that? Isaac asked. We disqualify her preemptively. She lives in Seattle. She's single, no children. She's met Zachary maybe 3 times in his life. Is that enough? I asked. No. We also need to bury Clyde so deep he can't recover. More evidence, witnesses, financial records, everything. I thought we had enough. We did, until a third party entered. Now we need overwhelming proof. I spent Monday making phone calls, old CPS contacts, favors owed, 32 years of connections, all activated at once. Martin Thompson worked in records. We'd shared an office for 15 years. Martin, it's Wyatt Coleman. Wyatt, haven't heard from you since you retired. What's going on? I need a favor. Unofficial. Sigh. Those are always the best kind. What do you need? Financial records. My son-in-law. He's in a custody battle, and I need to know if there's financial stress that could explain. Wyatt, I can't just pull someone's financial records. You know a guy who can. Pause. This is about your grandson? The CPS case Yolanda mentioned? Yeah. Give me 48 hours. Wednesday morning, my phone buzzed. Text from Yolanda. Got Clyde's financial records. Holy hell. I called her immediately. That bad? $50,000 in medical debt. Collections. Behind on mortgage. His credit is destroyed. My stomach dropped. From Isadora's death? Every cent. Hospital bills. Ambulance. They tried to save her for 6 hours. It all added up. I sat down hard. He's been drowning. Doesn't excuse abuse, but explains the stress. Tuesday afternoon, I'd visited Dr. Marcus Webb, Clyde's therapist from 3 years ago. Small office in northeast Portland. Comfortable chairs. Box of tissues on every surface. Dr. Webb, I'm Wyatt Coleman. Thank you for seeing me. Mr. Coleman, I should say up front, I cannot discuss my former patients. I understand, but Clyde Garrett was your patient 3 years ago after my daughter died. His expression confirmed it without words. I'm not asking you to violate ethics. I'm asking, was there anything in his background that might explain why he'd abuse his son? Long pause. He chose his next words carefully. Hypothetically, if someone came to therapy after a spouse's death and showed signs of repeating patterns from their own childhood. Patterns? Discipline through deprivation. Isolation as punishment. Control through fear. My stomach turned over. His father did this to him. I didn't say that, but generational trauma is very real, Mr. Coleman, and very hard to break without help. I drove home in silence, gripped the steering wheel too tight, pulled into my driveway and just sat there for 20 minutes. Wednesday and Thursday I collected neighbor statements. Winnie organized it like a military coup. By Wednesday I had 5 statements, 3 offers to testify, and someone's casserole. Community organizing at its finest. Winnie's living room became headquarters. 3 neighbors gathered, Diane Chen, Robert Murphy, all with notebooks. I heard him yelling at that boy at least once a week. Robert's hands shook slightly. I saw Zachary sitting on the porch in February. It was 38 degrees. Diane's voice went hard. He wouldn't let the boy play with other kids. Said they were bad influences. Winnie crossed her arms. Will you all testify to this in court? They looked at each other, nodded. That little boy needs someone fighting for him. Robert leaned forward. We're in. Friday I met with Zach's teacher. Mrs. Brennan pulled his file across her desk. Attendance notes, behavior reports. He's lost weight since September, noticeably. He hoards snacks from lunch. Won't throw anything away. Did you report it? I mentioned it to the counselor. But his father said Zachary was just a picky eater. Her jaw tightened. I should have pushed harder. What else have you noticed? He flinches. If I move suddenly to hand back a paper, he jerks away, like he's expecting to be hit. Will you testify to that? She nodded firmly. Absolutely. Friday evening, Isaac and I laid everything out on my dining table. The 3-inch stack had grown to 5 inches. Financial records showing $50,000 in debt. Therapy records hinting at childhood trauma. 12 neighbor statements. School documentation. CPS reports. Dad, look at this pile. We have everything. Financial pressure. Childhood trauma background. A dozen witnesses. Medical records. Her case doesn't stand a chance. Maybe. Maybe? Dad, we have him. I stared at the therapist's business card, turned it over in my fingers. Isaac, did you hear what the therapist said? Clyde's father did this to him. So? So he's not just a monster. He's a victim, too. Dad, I spent 32 years breaking these cycles, and now I'm using one victim's trauma to take away his son. He abused Zach. Because he was abused. Don't you see? I'm not solving anything. I'm just continuing it. Isaac slammed his hand on the table. Coffee cups rattled. No, you're stopping it. With Zach. That's how it ends. I looked at him. My son. 34 years old. Steady. Right. You're right. I know I'm right. Finish this. My phone buzzed. Text from Cecilia. I've retained a child psychologist, Dr. Shannon Aldridge. She'll evaluate Zachary and recommend the best placement. See you in court, Mr. Coleman. Smart. Dangerous. I forwarded it to Yvonne, who responded immediately. We need our own expert. I'll find someone tomorrow. Then another text. Unknown number. Mr. Coleman, this is Clyde. Please, can we talk? Just you and me. No lawyers. I need to explain. My thumb hovered over delete. Every instinct screamed, don't engage. Don't give him a chance to manipulate. Don't deviate from the plan. But something else whispered too. Maybe the man who'd accumulated $50,000 in debt trying to save my daughter needed help, not just punishment. I looked at Isaac's closed bedroom door, looked at the evidence, looked at Clyde's text. Typed, Tuesday, 2 p.m., Laurelhurst Park. You come alone. Hit send before I could change my mind. Texted Yvonne, I'm meeting with Clyde Tuesday. Don't ask me not to. Her response, bring your phone. Record everything. I set the phone down, stared at the 5 inches of evidence. Proof of abuse, proof of trauma, proof of a man destroyed by grief and debt, repeating patterns he couldn't escape. Outside my window, Clyde's house sat dark, except for one upstairs light. Somewhere in there, Zach was still awake. August 18th arrived, Monday morning, 9 o'clock sharp. Multnomah County Family Court. Courthouse security made me take off my belt. I'm 68 and walk with reading glasses on a chain. Exactly the kind of dangerous criminal they're trained to stop. Judge Iris Caldwell's courtroom smelled like old wood and stale coffee. Wyatt sat next to Yvonne at the petitioner's table, Isaac behind him. Across the aisle, Clyde with Cecilia. I adjusted my tie 3 times before the judge entered. This is a custody hearing regarding the minor child, Zachary Michael Garrett. Judge Caldwell settled her reading glasses. Mr. Coleman seeks custody. Mr. Garrett is the biological father. Ms. Garrett has filed as third party. We'll address all motions today. Let's proceed. Cecilia stood first, spread documents with theatrical precision. Your Honor, Wyatt Coleman presents himself as a concerned grandfather, but evidence shows something different, a man with a history of overstepping boundaries. She presented my disciplinary file like it was a smoking gun. 3 years ago, Mr. Coleman was accused of abuse of power. The complaint alleged he exceeded authority, pursued cases beyond recommendations, acted on personal bias. The same pattern is visible here. He weaponized CPS procedures to destroy his son-in-law, using his grandson as ammunition. Cecilia presented her case like she was prosecuting the Zodiac killer. Lots of dramatic pauses, pointing at evidence. I half expected a PowerPoint with ominous music. Yvonne stood when her turn came. Calm, precise. Your Honor, Ms. Garrett wants you to focus on a dismissed complaint from 3 years ago. I want you to focus on a 10-year-old boy who asked his grandfather, "Can I eat today?" and then burst into tears. She set the Polaroids on the evidence table, one by one. Finger-shaped bruises from being grabbed. A food diary showing a starving child devouring multiple servings. Voice recordings of a boy describing his punishment system. Mr. Coleman's so-called manipulation consisted of doing what any responsible adult should do, documenting abuse and reporting it. Winnie testified first, hands shaking, reading glasses perched on her nose, referred to handwritten notes. I saw that little boy sitting outside alone many times. In February, it was 38 degrees. Once, late at night, he was crying on the porch, trying the door handle. It was locked. What time was this? Around 10 p.m. He was in his pajamas. What did you do? I almost went over, but then the door opened and he went inside fast, like he was scared. Her voice broke. I should have called someone. I'll regret that for the rest of my life. Mrs. Brennan, Zach's teacher, came next. Professional, disturbed, significant weight loss since September. He hoards food from lunch, sneaks crackers into his pockets, won't throw away apple cores. Anything else? He flinches when I move suddenly. If I reach to hand him a paper, he jerks back. That's not normal behavior. Yolanda testified about the CPS investigation. Medical records, home inspection, locked cabinets, the freezer with a combination lock. Then came Zach's testimony. Closed session, just the child psychologist, both lawyers and audio piped out to us. I closed my eyes, jaw clenched. Zachary, can you tell me about dinner at your house? Sometimes I get dinner. Sometimes? Not every night? Only if I didn't mess up that day. What counts as messing up? Homework wrong? Room not clean enough? Talking back? Crying? What happens if you mess up? No dinner. Sometimes no breakfast either. How often? Long pause. Maybe 3 or 4 times a week. Are you scared of your father? Whispered. Yes. My hand gripped the armrest, knuckles white. Then Clyde took the stand. His hands trembled holding the water glass. Yvonne cross-examined. Mr. Garrett, you admit you withheld meals from your son? It was discipline, structure. Kids need discipline. They also need food. He ate. He just had to earn it. Earn basic nutrition. My father raised me the same way. I turned out fine. Did you? You're in family court losing custody because you systematically starved your son. Clyde's face crumbled. That's not... Your father abused you with food deprivation, didn't he? He was teaching me discipline. And you're repeating the same abuse on Zachary? Clyde broke, voice rising, cracking. I swore I'd never be like him. I swore I'd be different. I loved my son. I was trying to make him strong. By starving him? He covered his face with both hands, shoulders heaving. I became him. I became my father. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to. Judge Caldwell called recess. Outside the courtroom, I sat on a bench. Couldn't stand. Isaac supported my arm. Dad, you okay? I couldn't speak, just shook my head. We did it. You heard him break? The judge saw everything. Isaac, I just listened to my grandson describe being starved. I watched a man destroyed. I don't feel victorious. You feel human. That's different than wrong. Judge Caldwell announced she'd deliberate for 1 week. Walking out, I saw Clyde on the courthouse steps, head in hands, alone. Even Cecilia had walked past him without stopping. I walked past too. Didn't look back. That night, my landline rang. 8 times. 10. Finally, I picked up. Hello? Breathing on the other end. Then, Mr. Coleman, it's Clyde. I should have hung up. I'm not supposed to call. But I need you to know something. When Isadora died, something broke in me, and I took it out on the only person I had left. Long pause. I heard every word in court, every witness, and you were right. About all of it. I was killing him. My hand tightened on the phone. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I just needed you to know I'm not going to fight the ruling. Whatever Judge Caldwell decides, I deserve it. Zach deserves better. Clyde, take care of him, please. Take care of my son the way I couldn't. Click. Isaac came back with Thai food. Who called? I looked at my trembling hands. Wrong number. Because some conversations, even between enemies, stayed private. Monday, August 25th. Judge Caldwell's chambers. Both parties present. I've reviewed all evidence and testimony. This is clear systematic abuse and neglect. She didn't soften her words. Zachary showed malnutrition, lived in fear, was subjected to food deprivation as punishment. Mr. Garrett, your own trauma doesn't excuse inflicting the same on your child. I'm terminating your parental rights. Clyde's head dropped. He didn't fight. Mr. Coleman, I'm granting you full legal custody. My hands gripped the chair arms, relief and terror in equal measure. However, Mr. Garrett, if you complete 6 months of therapy, I'll consider supervised visitation. Not custody. Visitation. Ms. Garrett, your motion is denied. Insufficient relationship with the child. Cecilia's briefcase snapped shut. She walked out without looking at anyone. You did it, Dad, Isaac said outside. Yeah. I loosened my tie, sat on a bench. Couldn't speak for 5 minutes. You don't sound happy. I am. I'm just tired. It's over now. Isaac, it's not over. It's just starting. I'm 68, raising a traumatized 10-year-old. Zach moved in that weekend. 3 boxes of belongings. 3. A 10-year-old's entire life fit in my trunk with room for groceries. First night, screaming woke me at 2 a.m. I rushed into his room. Zach, buddy, it's okay. You're safe. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Please don't. Shh. You're at Grandpa's house. You live here now. He slowly realized where he was. Grandpa? I'm here. You're safe. He clung to me, crying. The nightmares came 3-4 times a week. Some nights I just slept on the floor in his room. My back complained every morning. Ibuprofen became breakfast. I discovered food hidden in his closet a week later. Granola bars, crackers, apple cores wrapped in napkins. My pension was $100 a month. Covered 2 people if those people ate ramen, and never turned on the heat. Good thing it was September in Portland. Only rained 6 days that week. Isaac sent money from Japan. His military contract kept him there until next spring. I did this alone. Mid-September, Yvonne called. Clyde's completed 6 weeks of therapy. He's requesting a supervised visit. I sat down. What does Zach think? He's scared, but he asked if his dad was okay. Long pause. 1 hour, park. I stay the entire time. I'll coordinate it. Saturday morning, Laurelhurst Park. I positioned myself between Zach and the parking lot. Clyde arrived looking like someone had hollowed him out. Thinner, older, barely recognizable. Hi, Zach. Zach pressed against me. Didn't respond. Clyde sat on a bench, kept distance. You don't have to talk to me. I just wanted to see you. Silence stretched for minutes. I'm in therapy. 3 times a week. I'm learning that what I did was wrong. That my father was wrong. That I hurt you. His voice broke. I don't expect you to forgive me. Maybe you never will, but I needed you to know. I'm sorry. Tears ran down his face. He didn't hide them this time. I loved your mom, and I love you. I just didn't know how to show it after she died. I became the thing I hated most. Zach's grip on my shirt tightened. I finally spoke. Clyde, he looked up, eyes red. You have a chance now, to break the cycle, to be better. I know. Complete the therapy. Do the work, not for visitation, for yourself. I will. Maybe in a year, if you've done the work, we can talk about more visits. Supervised, always supervised. Thank you. Don't thank me. Earn it. The hour ended. Clyde drove away alone. Late September afternoon. Golden light through my kitchen window. Okay, buddy, look through here. See that little window? Yeah, that's the viewfinder. Whatever you see there is what the picture will be. Can I take a picture of you? Sure. Stand back a bit. Press this button when you're ready. Click. The Polaroid word. Now we wait. Takes about 10 minutes to develop. Magic. Sort of. Your great-grandfather gave me this camera when I was about your age. Now I'm teaching you. That's how it works. We watched the photo develop together, both of us smiling in it. Grandpa? Yeah? Thank you for everything. My throat tightened. You're my grandson. This is where you belong. That evening, after Zach went to bed, I stood in the kitchen. Bills piled on the counter, ibuprofen bottle beside them. My back ached. I looked older in the mirror these days. But upstairs, my grandson slept. Still had nightmares. Still hoarded food. Still flinched sometimes. But he was safe. Healing. Home. I picked up Isadora's photo from the shelf. Traced her face with one finger. I did it, baby girl. He's safe now. The camera collection gleamed behind glass. Generations of Colemans. Tools of truth. My phone buzzed. Isaac. How's he doing? I typed back. Better. Still nightmares, but better. And you? Exhausted. Old. But okay. Mom would be proud. I hope so. I set the phone down. Turned off the kitchen light. Climbed the stairs slowly, knees protesting. Checked on Zach one more time. He slept peacefully tonight. Small victories. In my room, I set the Polaroid photo on my nightstand. Both of us smiling. Building new memories. Tomorrow would bring more challenges. More nightmares. More bills. More pain. But tonight, we were okay. Sometimes, that's enough. If you like this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions of this story in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the box on the left. Thank you for watching.